Big day on Capitol Hill today. Hunter Biden's one-time best friend and former business partner, Devon Archer, set to appear before the House Oversight Committee in a closed-door hearing after a wild weekend. Joining us now for more, New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Congresswoman, good morning. Good to see you.
Great to see you. Great to be on again.
Good to have you back. So this Devon Archer story over the weekend was it was crazy. So he was found guilty. He's a felon. He's going to do a year and a day in jail for fraud. But get this, on Saturday, the DOJ, the Biden Department of Justice, requested that Archer start his prison term immediately, like ASAP, knowing that he was going to testify Monday morning. Have you ever seen a more clear-cut case of witness intimidation ever?
Yeah, not only witness intimidation, this is obstruction of justice in an official congressional hearing. So this, to me, is an admission of guilt. They know that the breadcrumbs that we are having to uncover, because, by the way, they're not giving us anything. If we had a special counsel, all this, and a real special counsel, all this would have led right down the trail to Joe Biden. And we're getting way too close. This is a raw nerve that was hit. They realize Devon Archer is going to get out there, and he's going to make that link, we assume, that link to Joe Biden. So everybody keeps talking about Hunter, and I keep talking about Joe, because without a Joe Biden in positions of power, without the influence peddling of Joe Biden, there would never be a Hunter Biden on the Burisma board making $83,000 a month with no skills. There wouldn't be a Hunter Biden allegedly creating these paintings that are selling for $500,000 when he's not an artist. I mean, look, I could do, a painting, and no one is ever going to buy spend $500,000 on a painting for me, and I'm actually somewhat of an artist. You know why? Because my father isn't the president of the United States, and I can't give them access. And I think that's another form of money laundering. Everything is about funneling money to Joe Biden and his family, because honestly, on either a senator's pay or even the vice presidential pay, even with a wife with a decent amount of pay who's a doctor of education, you don't live in multi-million-dollar homes
Dr.
and
Jill.
live the lifestyle Joe Bill. Yeah, right. Dr. Jill. You don't live the lifestyle Joe Biden does. There's over 100 members of Congress who live in their offices.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe Biden never had a job other than government. So this is really about influence peddling, money laundering, bribery, everything Joe Biden could do to use his son as a proxy to enrich himself and the rest of the family. And all this is look, even Hunter said in testimony, he said to his daughter in a text message that was revealed in the laptop that is verified now. He said, look, I'm not going to take half your salary like Dad does. Remember, I'm quoting him.
Yeah, we learned the laptop was revealing, and they tried to discredit that. It might have cost Donald Trump the 2020 election. That's how big a deal it is. So today, what the Oversight Committee is going to try to get to is, was Joe Biden ever paid? Was he ever compensated by a foreign business in exchange for policy decisions when he was vice president? I thought this was interesting, by the way. Your colleague, my congressman from Connecticut, Jim Himes, the first big name, I say big name because he's been in Congress for almost 20 years, but the first big name on the left to call Hunter Biden a crook. Take a listen.
Let me say something that you never heard a Republican member of Congress say in the 4 years of the Trump administration, which is that if Hunter Biden broke the law, he should be prosecuted. And it is clear that he broke the law with respect to taxes and possibly the ownership of a handgun. He should be held accountable for that. If he traded on his father's influence, he should be held accountable for that. And I'm emphasizing this because you never, ever heard a Republican say the same thing about Donald Trump or his family.
Well, no, the point is you never, ever, ever hear Democrats say that about Joe Biden and his family. Forget about Donald Trump. Guys have been president for almost 3 years. What'd you make of that? We got about 20 seconds, and how it might connect the dots to a possible Biden impeachment.
Certainly, that's the easiest thing you can say, because it's obvious. It's in plain sight that Hunter Biden is a criminal. The question is now, how do we link Joe Biden, which I think is where it all started. Donald Trump is having there is literally a witch hunt. This is selective prosecution, and they're looking for a crime with Donald Trump. It isn't in plain sight. They're trying to dredge up what potentially could be a violation or even a misdemeanor, turn it into a felony, because, again, just like the laptop, all the electioneering and everything they tried to do in 2020, This is how they're going to try to prevent Donald Trump from becoming the president of the United States. It's more obstruction of the election process.
Yeah, great point. Hopefully we get a transcript soon so we know what was said behind closed doors. Congresswoman Claudia Tenney,
shouldn't be behind closed doors, in my opinion.
It shouldn't be, but I think this is a key first step, and maybe we do see public testimony down the road, maybe after Congress gets back from the August recess. Great to see you, Congresswoman. Thank you.
Great to see you. Thank you.
All right.